I feel the spirit moving in me. I feel the spirit moving in me.
Thank you for that incredible music. Whoa. And I was just thinking of PK's prayer, the reading of the daily word, Adam's knowing of our divine connection. And I'm just so grateful to be with you all this morning. This is a very sacred sanctuary for me. My children grew up in this church, and my mom departed the world as a member of this church. So this sanctuary feels like home to me. So is it the top one? There we go. Thank you. As Reverend Blaine called and asked me to speak and said, "What do you want to talk about?" And at that moment, I wasn't feeling so peaceful. So I thought, I know peace is always possible, but is it always possible for me, for us to feel that peace? And I can feel when I'm pinching myself off from peace. And it's when I'm feeling like I'm in control or I'm attached to a certain outcome, or I may be in unforgiveness of myself or for others. So this morning, I wanted us to have a peaceful experience, not just talk about peace from the mind side of it, but to experience peace. Because we live in a world where technology has images and sound bites that can grab my attention and take me out of that peaceful place. So as I always realize, oh, you mean I have to change? You mean it's about me? It's a God job. So as within, so without. And I know that when I'm feeling peaceful, I'm affecting the whole. And yet I want to do more because this is my mission. I am a peacemaker, and I believe you all are as well. So let's just experience that this morning. There have always been polarities in our world and in our universe, the feminine and the masculine, yin and yang, protons and electrons, north and south poles, inhale and exhale. And these are examples of interdependent pairs. In our egoic world, the polarities can be of war or peace, love or hate, Democrat or Republican, religion or science. And these can feed the illusion of independent or separation from each other. And to me, what came was, how are we communicating with each other? And it's a new world of communication. When I was a child, our family loved debate. We had a huge dictionary on the podium as you entered the family room. And my family has many lawyers and professors, but we used to love the art of conversation was alive and well. And this spurred me to want to join the debate club in my school. And you never knew which side you were going to get, but your teacher would tell you you're going to be either the antagonist or the protagonist. But it showed me a rich world of viewing a topic from both sides and not having it have to be right or wrong, that we could discuss it and come to an agreement in the middle. And it was such an eye-opener for me. By the way, I looked up how many words are in the dictionary, and as of Webster's third edition in 1993, there are 470,000 words in the dictionary, and I just wonder how many am I using? Not very many, but there are so many words, a rich vocabulary in which we can express ourselves. But we happen to be in a world, and my children and my grandchildren, I'm sure it's a lot about sound bites, actually. And so maybe we're coming into understanding each other without words. And I hear about AI, artificial intelligence, which I'm sure can be for the benefit when used wisely. But I also believe it stands for artificial intimacy, which we have heard of. And and so that's maybe a part of what we're feeling at this time is we're not gathering together to explore the realms of consciousness that are so vast and so rich and so much more than what I'm seeing on that little box. I'm grateful to Reverend Blaine for asking me to speak this morning because I learned so much, and maybe you all know about the things I'm going to talk about. But one of my favorite people is Robert Edward Grant, who is a mathematician amongst other things. He's a prolific inventor, sculptor, artist, musician, a research author on biology, DNA, number theory, geometry, and physics. And he has shown me the sacredness of math and how math really is connecting so many of the theories in our universes. And so then I started looking at algorithms. And algorithms have been around for a long time. It's just a word that I've learned maybe in the last 10 years. I asked my friend Michelle, and she said, oh, her brother told her 40 years ago that algorithms are a recipe. And that is exactly what they are. And so I looked up the definition of algorithms, and it's a process or set of rules to be followed in calculations or problem solving, especially by a computer. A basic algorithm for division. And so I thought about our algorithms seem to be dividing us right now because our computers, our internet knows us well. We can just turn on our computer and it knows who you are or what your preferences have been, what recipe you have been following, and it dishes up more of the same. So we can be stuck in these corners that we don't realize this isn't the whole truth. We don't have to think that much anymore. And so my friend Mike told me he watches Fox and he watches CNN, and then he lands somewhere in the middle, which I think is a thinking formula for these times. And in our information overload, we could get one-sided or the other, but nice to be in the middle. But here's the thing. As I have grown in my relationship with God, I know God is in awe in everything. And I came to realize it's either all or nothing. I can't say God's in that tree, but God's not in that war. God is in all. And that's comforting to me. And that takes away from me having to feel like I have to control the situation. I can observe it and trust that God's algorithms are moving through and bringing about resolution. So there are many polarities, but there's a great synchronicity in it all. And no matter who is elected or who is in the White House, God has a much greater plan, and I can just let that all go. It's not about fighting for the old, it's about rebirthing the new that's been around in ancient wisdom forever, but we're rebirthing that at this time. Okay. I love this picture. Our legacy of peace is a long one. There's a podcast I enjoy with Emily and Robert Perry, The Circle of Atonement, Living A Course in Miracles. And over the past 6 months, Emily Perry joined a group of Christian leaders who believe their mission is to move from religion that dominates to a faith that restores. And though A Course in Miracles is not Christian, this time together was to explore the history of nonviolent civil rights movement using Jesus as their model and specifically the Sermon on the Mount, with its message to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. The podcast goes on to speak about the bigotry, segregation, and death that is a part of our history. And though these are references of some of the lowest of human interaction, at the same time, there are some of the very best of humanity and the connection we make through a love that forgives. The civil rights leaders gave us a window into what it is that allowed the nonviolent civil rights movement to truly change the world. Though I heard about civil rights as a child, I did not fully appreciate all the sacrifice, commitment, and huge accomplishments made by ordinary people through the power of love. I learned that there was a pledge card that was signed by everyone who wanted to be a part of this movement at that time. And I'm fascinated by it, and I hope you will read it with me, just to take on for a moment the level of commitment that all the civil rights workers gave. So together, I hereby pledge myself, my person, and my body to the nonviolent movement. Therefore, I will keep the following 10 commandments. Meditate daily on the teachings and life of Jesus. Remember always that the nonviolent movement seeks justice and reconciliation, not victory. Walk and talk in the manner of love, for God is love. Pray daily to be used by God in order that all men might be free. Sacrifice personal wishes in order that all men might be free. Observe with both friend and foe the ordinary rules of courtesy. Seek to perform regular service for others and for the world. Refrain from violence of fist, tongue, or heart. Strive to be in good spiritual and bodily health. Follow the directions of the movement and of the captain on a demonstration. And so they signed this card. And this is the pledge they took. Martin Luther King spoke to these principles to the congregation, letting anyone know who wanted to be a part of this movement that if they were attacked, they had two choices: to either do nothing or fall to the ground and pray, that not a hair was to be harmed on their attackers. And if they were not able to commit to this, they'd be given another job to be drivers or hand out pamphlets or go buy food. But they had to commit to not reacting, which is huge. And that's when I see John Lewis and others now, I understand how they just took it, but they didn't react. The command is an absolute necessity. Martin Luther King went on to say, the command is an absolute necessity for the survival of our civilization. It is love that will save our world. Imagine today if we had another large-scale mass movement to love those people that we think are the problem. The other side, politically, powerful corporations, authoritarian dictators. But as we have learned from Jesus, we can look at all of this with the strength to say, I'm not going to cooperate in your program. In fact, I may actively work against it, but I am going to love you. I cannot imagine the discipline and practice that was called for in these times. It's helped me, it's changed me on how I'm viewing the news or what's happening in the world, because I want to honor this legacy of peace. It's a new dawning. The consciousness that is changing the world is actually of ageless, timeless wisdom. As the pillars of our government are being brought into question at this time, it feels to me that old systems are falling apart. And actually, this is good news. The mystics and indigenous tribes have lived beyond a world of self-centeredness and egoic duality for millions of years. As I was preparing for today, I came upon Betty Kovacs. I don't know if you all know her, but I recommend reading her. She's an author and professor who focuses on the reemergence into Western culture of her higher states of consciousness. Her extensive research tracked the existence of shamanic mystic science culture from at least 40,000 BCE. Our ancestors had developed symbolic language and various shamanic techniques to trigger altered states of consciousness. Some of these ancestors achieved great skills as visionaries, mystics, and shamans, while others were able to experience cosmic consciousness. Even in the 60s, I didn't realize we came from a very deep and profound mystical tradition. As a child, Betty said that she just couldn't accept the belief that she was born flawed and needed to be fixed or saved. But she also couldn't believe the science of this is all there is, you die and that's it. So that's what launched her into really studying about the mystics. And so she discovered in her studies, and like I said, maybe you all know this, but she discovered in about 2500 BCE the feminine, masculine aspects. There is no gender in the aspects. Were always vital, are always vital to the marriage of the whole, to create the whole heart in the organ of the soul from which God speaks through us. Her work is extensive, and like I said, you may enjoy reading her work, but in summary, in 621 BCE, the Deuteronomists got rid of the feminine aspect in our Bible, and a world of patriarchy was established from that time forward. Betty states we are living in a renaissance of a spiritual wave. The consistent suppression of the ancient wisdom is the root cause of our current planetary crisis, and it can only be healed through the consciousness of the heart that births a just and feeling world. The same tradition on which our survival now depends has once again emerged today, and it can change the world. I have been working at a food pantry in Kula since our fires a year ago. And I have met so many courageous people that are going through difficulty. They sing in our symphony. They have been ballerinas. They have been explorers in Alaska. They come from all walks of life. And they have given so much to the world, but they're going through difficult times living with confusion and grief and pain. Another gentleman I discovered is Charles Eisenstein, yes, who says, "To those that are living in hard times, yet nonetheless choose patience, choose generosity, choose kindness, choose peace. These choices exert a magnified impact on the future of our world. Though it may seem so insignificant because you are only one person, this is a declaration of what the human being can be, and you can shapeshift the world into accordance with your choices." Let's not lose sight of how powerful we are. Jesus came not to save us, but to remind us who we truly are. Thank you. Thank you. Is this when we say this again, Adam? Let's say this together. I am at peace with the world around me. So I invite you, us, to experience this peace, to take it in. And one of the ways I enjoy a bit of a breath is you take a natural inhale and then you just take in a little more. You top it off. So it goes like this. So let's do that 3 times together if we can. A natural inflow, and then make a room for a little more, and exhale. And as we make room, even more room for the peace in our body, in our cells, in our consciousness, we fill up with this peace into overflowing so that our neighbors feel it. This church is filled with this peace. Our community, everywhere we exchange our energy, we take it into our world, and we know the power that can change the world through us. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So it is. Amen.
See what's exciting. There's always the flowers on the altar. We'll start with that. And the flowers today were brought by your imagination. And what's so beautiful about these flowers, if you relax into your mind and you see them, the amazing thing about these flowers is it is your favorite flower up here. Isn't that great? It is your favorite flower right here. So just imagine it. And if you'd like to see real ones, we welcome that also. We have a sign-up sheet in the back. So if you like to bring flowers some week, you can send them as a tribute to someone you love or has having a birthday or has passed. So we will give a shout out for that. And at the end of the service, you get to take the flowers home with you, because there's no point in them sitting here all week when they could be beautifying your home. So that's one of the things we do here. So sign-up sheets in the back if you'd like to do that. Reverend Blaine, the missing Reverend Blaine, will be back next week. Ray Blaine Tinsley. And he has left this little tidbit to keep us going. Next week, he's going to be talking about mind magic, the neuroscience of manifestation. Sounds deep and powerful to me. Okay, so next Sunday, August 11th, Reverend Blaine will start a 3-week talk. The series is Mind Magic, the Neuroscience of Manifestation. And he's going to help us explore Dr. James Doughty's insight, which he's got this book, and it bridges ancient wisdom and modern science to unlock our mind's potential. This series will delve into the science of manifestation, focusing on attention, intention, compassion, and self-love. And I know that's going to be good because I got to tell you, I've told this story before, but I was raised an atheist. And then I became kind of an agnostic, open-minded. And what I loved about Science of Mind, which is what we used to call ourselves, was that I didn't have to pick science or religion. It made sense. The spirit, science was there. The spirit maybe was the why, and the science was the how. So there's not a conflict. So, and that ability to manifest, that power of our consciousness is good stuff. So I know that will be a great talk from Reverend Blaine. All right, so we're going to wrap things up. We just got 2 things left, the prayer of protection and the peace song. So if you'd like to stand now, and we'll do the prayer for protection, but we're not going to do the peace song until we actually find our way to form a circle. Okay, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but I want to see one ring of people holding hands when we do that peace song. So we'll figure out a way to make that happen. But for right now, we'll have the prayer of protection in geometry, and together we say, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Oh.